Hey, I'm Aaron. I'm an American photographer and director living in Madrid, Spain. Welcome to the channel, and let's follow the light. Hey guys, welcome back. Second part of all of the different gear reviews and things I've been talking about. I did a couple little things on my new camera rig. So I just wanted to take a second, go through, share everything, and kind of share my thought process because I found it really helpful to see how other photographers, videographers, filmmakers were constructing their rigs. And with each specific use case, I feel like we learned with each specific use case, I feel like we learned something. So I'm just going to walk through what I decided to go with, what my priorities were, kind of what I shoot, and then we'll kind of go from there. Okay, so let me start at the beginning. So I am a portrait photographer primarily, and I do some commercial work. I do some lifestyle work. I've been doing more motion. I did 2 music videos last year. So I need a camera that really kind of does it all, but 75% of what I do is photo. So the camera I went with, because I already had Fuji, I went with the Fuji XH2S. I thought about it for a very long time. Because I was kind of thinking I really would rather have the megapixels of the XH2, but I decided to go with the XH2S, and I'll do another video about all the details with that. But I decided to go with that just because like the video was so capable. In the music videos that I shot last year, I did on an FX3 and an A7 IV of Sony. And I love the experience. They were like, the images were incredible, the ISO performance, autofocus, like it was really, really good to work with. And so my goal is to test the XH2 to see if I can get close, so that I don't have to change out all of my lenses, everything like that. So I shoot the XH2S now for kind of hybrid and video, and then I have a Fuji GFX 50S for like portrait, commercial, and like stuff that I really want higher megapixel or like more photo detail. Anyway, it's not about that, it's about the rig. So basically I need a rig. So I know in advance I have shaky hands. Anything I can do to stabilize myself, I need to do that. Handheld for me often just doesn't look as good as I want it to. So I've been trying to find different ways to stabilize without having like, an easy rig or something kind of crazy. Because in the end, like I have to carry my equipment everywhere because I work here in the city. And so I don't want to rely on a bunch of heavy equipment. I want to be able to be mobile and nimble. So the goal here was steady. The goal here was multiple holding options. And it was as light as I can get it in my budget. And then the budget was kind of the last priority, that I'm not at a place where I want to invest a ton of money. So what I really want is a solid investment that minimizes the downsides of everything, but I'm not going to go crazy and invest in like a full cinema system until I can stabilize that line of work and kind of get more projects that would justify that. So the rig. So first of all, at the base, I have the XH2S, and then I have the newer V-mount battery. So the cool thing about the V-mount battery is one of the new cinema lights that I have, the Nanlite Pavo Slim 120C, also works off of the V-mount battery. So I can double this battery. If I'm not using it for the rig, I can use it for the light. And then if I'm not using it for the light, then I can use it for this. And then if I don't need it for either one of those, I can bring it with me when I'm mobile, and I can charge. It has USB-C, USB-A, the 8 volt, 12 volt, and a D-tap. So I can just pop it in my bag and know that no matter what I need to do with it, I can pretty much do anything I need. So it's kind of also a level of security when I'm not using it. The cool thing I like about this, it tells you, it has the small LCD screen, so I can see what's charging, what voltage, all that kind of stuff. So it's nice just to kind of know where everything is going. So I have the plaque on here that it holds it, is let's see, it's changeable. So I got it, let me start this. So this is movable, and I have this for 2 reasons. One, like this. So if I'm carrying the camera, I can also use it as a shoulder rig, or as a shoulder strap to kind of push it against me. So I know if I need to get tight, that I can also push it against my body. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted one of these, that it could go out. So I could do that. I also like it because with that, I can perfectly balance it. It's a little bit heavy on the front end now, but before I had it pretty much balanced. And so with this, I can just do some additional leveling with this, but I can also, if I'm moving in tight space or if I just want to get something that I need done, let's see, it has a nice little swivel on it. And what I don't want it to is hit the back of my camera. Running into some cables here. So it has the full tilt, you can see here. So I can even go further out if I want to. Then it can also, when I move the camera forward, rotate it in, and then push it back so I can have like a super tight, compact little setup. So there's that. I'll leave it there for now. I'm gonna tighten everything because I'll lift it up in a second and drop it. Let's see, so the second thing I have, the Rode Go. These are the original Rode Go. I bought them years ago, a year or so ago, and I got them I bought them used because again, like the number of times I do sound is not that much. Probably 50% of the time I need actually good quality sound. A lot of times it's more motion without sound. But the cool thing I like about this is I just have the thing, plug it in, and it's there. I don't have anything sticking off. I don't have to worry about like where I'm doing it, but I do have a small shotgun mic as well when that calls for it. So I have that. I have the small rig top handle. I'm waiting on the cage right now. I went with the, I can't remember the name of the brand that I went with. It wasn't the small rig. I really almost went with the Condor Blue because I loved all the little features of it. But again, like it was a little bit expensive, and I feel like in 6 months or a year when I'm stabilizing more of my video work, I'll go for that. But for now, this was all actually not too expensive, all things considered. So my sound, I have my top handle. I have a couple of versions of the top handle. So the top handle here, this one is a cold shoe one, so that basically I can slap it on anything and use it. I also have the screw one. So when I have a cage, I'll probably use that because it's a lot more secure, especially for a rig like this. I don't want to carry it too much with a cold shoe. And then I'm also going to consider getting one with a record button because I do notice sometimes it gets, since I'm right-handed and it's on that side, sometimes it gets a little funny at the very beginning where you're like, okay, start, and you have rolling footage at the beginning. It's kind of nothing. So to just be able to have something there. So that may be something I'm eyeing for the future. I have a Feel World monitor. I think it's like the 6-inch. Again, that's another one that's probably 3 or 4 years old. I bought this right before COVID actually. And again, I bought it used just because it was in good shape, and I don't use it so much. But for the music video, we had the touch screen. I think it was either the Small HD or the Feel World. I can't remember which one, but it was the ultra bright. It had some touch function on the thing, and it was super amazing. So that's another thing that if the work will justify it, eventually I'll probably go back and do a higher quality monitor. This one works fine. It has the shade on it. So I used this one over the summer in Catalonia in the middle of the day in the summertime in Spain, and I was able to make it work. It wasn't great, but it worked. And then attached to that, I have the small rig swivel. I don't know if I can get that off there. Let's see. So you can see. So I have the small rig swivel. So this one will go, I can swivel it, and then I can also turn it. So sometimes it's nice if you're kind of moving the rig around, or if you're working with an assistant or anything like that, or even the client that wants to see, it's easy to kind of like pop it aside so I can keep an eye on it, but also other people can see. So we have that, and I'm just gonna and this is the moment when I'm thinking, maybe I should have gotten the quick release. But again, my other fear is like you start adding a bunch of little things, and with each piece it gets a little heavier, and this is already kind of the max weight that I would do. Let's see, so I'll turn it around. So this is the small rig focus ring, so it's actually, I like this pretty, like it was quite cheap when I got it. I got it like one of those like Amazon specials, because I didn't want to overinvest in something like that, because I was like, I don't really know if I want to use it. I don't manually focus that often, but I find that I do more and more, especially with this. And with this camera, the ability to see autofocus is actually pretty good. So I'm keeping this around, and I'm going to kind of test it out a little bit. I saw another rig that I'm thinking about, kind of, down the road, that he uses the Tilta wireless one. So he uses the manual one for focus, and then the Tilta for zoom. So for example, for this one, I have the zoom lens, and so that way with both of these, you can kind of like focus to the right, zoom to the left, if you ever need to kind of do that. So everything is up here instead of trying to dig, because once you get the cords going, it's like it can get a little crazy. So yeah, have that. I have the cords. I'm trying to decide. I have a cord, and I think it's, the brand here in Europe is called Alvin's Cables. It's pretty popular right now. The thing I don't like, and I just realized as soon as I did that, this one is too, they're both shiny, and I like a more of a matte cable. So I'm gonna look around and see if I can find more matte cables, but for now I think these will go pretty good. I like these because we can stretch if I need to, but they also curl nicely when I'm putting them around these things, and so I feel like I'm doing less tucking and stuffing, and I can do a little more wrapping, which for me right now works. We'll see out in the field, and once it starts hanging on crap, then I may change my mind. Man, last but not least, the small rig matte box. So I know always the joke of, this is the moneymaker. This is what you bring on set to show that you're legit, so you can charge what you want to charge. I've worked with it and worked without it. Sometimes I feel like it's kind of a pain because it's always that thing that comes around. But every now and then, especially if you're working outside, there's a couple times where I'm like, man, it actually comes in quite handy. So I have this one. It's the small rig mini. I'll put the link down there so you guys can see that. But it's the smaller one. It's the cheapest one. It's the smallest one. I didn't want anything crazy. I want something that's functional. It does have the slide on here for the, I think it's the 4 by 5.65 square filters if you want it. But it also has the ability to attach your own polarizers and everything inside the box. So since I already have all of that, I want to do that. That being said, lesson I learned over the summer, when you're shooting anamorphic or ultra wide lenses, they have different step rings. I did not step rings, and so I didn't know this. And so I was all set, ready to shoot, and I had the traditional stackable step rings. And with the anamorphic lens, no matter what I put it on, it wouldn't work. And so I had, it was one of the mini anamorphics. I can't remember the name of it now. It was the Laowa or something. But I think the thread count was like 58 or 62. So none of the adapters that came with it worked for that. And then, so I had to use my step ring. When I used my step ring, you could see it. And so I was already losing a little bit with the anamorphic, and then I was losing even more with the thing. So it was a pain in the ass. So that's one of the reasons why I have the square filter, just in case, because it's something I can rent and then pop on a square filter, and then I don't have to worry about sizing rings, especially if you're shooting anamorphic or something like that. So that is the reason with that. And I think that's all the pieces, right? So the other part is really less interesting. So I went with just the cheapest basic base plate. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the camera kind of moving a little bit, shifting on, so I'm going to look at that and see. I will probably move to something where I can do a quick release on the top and the bottom, if I find that I'm using this more. And I went with the shorter, I think these are the 8-inch rings. They were on like the Amazon clearance warehouse buy, so I was able to save a little bit of money on these. I went with the carbon fiber. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I had a quick plate on here earlier, and it worked just fine. It's pretty light. And the other thing too I liked was this one was quite stable. Some of them were smaller to kind of fit in a rig, but I knew that this was going to be my primary base, and it's high enough that with my matte box I don't need a level adjuster or anything like that. So it kind of worked out for me. All right, so man, so there you have it. So this is going to be kind of my test rig for right now, and then I'm going to see kind of what's going to happen from here. The only thing I'm waiting on now, the only thing missing is the cage, and then I'll try to maybe adapt a couple different options from the cage and see how that nets. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was somewhat helpful. Like I said, I feel like it's nice sometimes to hear other perspectives, just to see what kind of decisions we're all making. If you guys have thoughts, suggestions, or things that you tried out, or any of this that you tried that didn't work, feel free to let me know. I'm always trying to kind of adapt and learn a little bit what's going on. All right, so thank you guys so much. See you. Okay guys, sorry, I always have like one more thing, maybe that'll be my thing. So one more thing I wanted to show, like I was gonna go through my rig, so I have a couple of different eventualities, so I thought this might be helpful too. This is one, I'll show you guys a piece, and this is the part right here that I dislike about this rig, is that it's hard to detach, so I'll definitely, I'm gonna be switching it. I'll definitely have to go a quick release because otherwise it's, yeah, exactly. So, excuse me. The other thing I've been using is this little handheld. So it's really for a gimbal, but I find that it's kind of that extra bit that I need that is really helpful. So I actually like this because it's super stable, and so it allows me to keep everything here, but it also does that. I can pop my mic on, I can put a handle on top if I need to switch for like a follow or something like that. So I don't know, we'll see. So I just wanted to show this as an option. These are kind of the other bits of the rig, and of course if I take this off, and even like this lens, this is the 16-55 Fuji XF. It's probably a little heavy. I doubt I'll use it that much. I just put it on there because it was one of the heavier lenses, just to kind of test what the rig would look like with it. So there you go. Just wanted to add that in there because I think it's a part of it. We all have like different steps of it. So we'll see what kind of other modifications come when I get the cage. All right. Thanks again.